Welcome back to the Grad-Centric Podcast. I'm Jason Anderson here with Grad Metrics. The next topic that we're going to cover in this podcast is a free or a heavily subsidized college experience. Now let me set the stage before we go into the particulars here. The number one and the number two drivers of college cost today are tuition itself and living on campus. Sometimes it's tuition that's the first, sometimes it's living on campus. So if you were to go off to a cheaper state school, for instance, it may actually cost more to live on campus than tuition itself. But in any case, one of the ways that we can decrease the overall cost of a college education is by changing those two variables. So for tuition itself, it might be going to a school that's going to give you better scholarships or has a lower tuition rate. For living on campus, it might be living off campus. It might also be not living at all, living at home, but not living in the campus environment. So anytime we talk about free or subsidized education pathways, typically they are around this non-traditional experience, so not living on campus for 4 years. Now granted, if you want to go and live on campus for 4 years and that's what you want for your son or daughter, you absolutely can have that experience through building a good school list, finding scholarships, making sure that you're ranked well within the incoming class profile. Lots of strategies there. But for the families that are willing to take a more non-traditional pathway to college, some of these opportunities I'm going to outline here can be really, really lucrative. And again, get you to a place where you're getting a free or a highly subsidized college education. And I call it free. That's a little bit of a misnomer, right? Nothing in life is free. A lot of times we're going to have to work for something and then we'll get this benefit that I'm calling free, but really you're working for it. Which brings me to the first of many of these pathways that we're going to outline that I think are really, really good opportunities for families that will be a little non-traditional in their experience. That first one is working for an employer who will help you pay for college. The two that I like to point out in this space are UPS and actually FedEx. Of course, they compete, so FedEx has a similar program. But UPS offers up to $25,000 for a student to go back and finish their education or to start it and complete it. Starbucks is another great one in this space. Starbucks offers their employees the opportunity for those who are eligible to go to Arizona State totally for free online. It's an amazing opportunity, amazing value for working for a certain employer. So if you're going to go and get a job and you're going to be doing this anyway, might as well find an employer who will help you in your continuing education after high school. The second one that's kind of aligned to that, honestly, is parents sometimes look into working for colleges when their children come of age to go off to college. And why is this the case? So many colleges, in order to be competitive with other corporations who might get good talent, will give their employees tuition remission. Otherwise, they won't charge the dependents of these employees to go back to school. So you might be able to get a job at the local university, and then after a certain amount of time working there, your kid could go there for free. Also, a lot of people don't know that many of these universities are in consortiums, as in they have agreements with other universities that you might even be able to send your kid to another university simply because you're an employee of one campus within this system of campuses who have agreed to remit tuition. A lot of times those programs are competitive, so your student actually has to get in and be awarded that special allocation of money for tuition remission, but it can still be done, so ask around. So those are two of the really cool programs that are out there in order to get tuition remission or to get it for a way cheaper cost than you would just going off to college in the traditional manner. The next one I would say is sometimes moving to a state that has good tuition programs, if it's a good fit for you and your family, might be another thing you want to look at. So I'll point out my home state, Missouri. Missouri has a great program called the A+ program that offers, at least at this time, a free community college experience. So that's another $6,000, $9,000. It's in your pocket because the state is paying for that. Now you do have to meet certain requirements when you're in high school and do things like service opportunities. So you can look into all the details on your own. I've linked it in the blog posts that I've written about this at gradmetrics.com. But moving to a state might be something you want to look into as your children get closer to college. The next I would say is there are private scholarship opportunities. So this isn't a big bucket of money, but there are private scholarships out there that are offered outside of the government and outside of the universities that can be lucrative if your child is good in academics or has a merit, some type of merit that they can apply to these scholarships based on. So it might be from Coca-Cola or it might be from the Rotary Club. But I do encourage families to apply to more rather than less, because you're increasing your chances as you apply to more of these private scholarships, particularly if you have a high achieving student. The next is study abroad. This one, again, non-traditional, but there are many European countries that will offer free education for United States students coming to their country to go to their universities. Now, the universities in the United States are still the best universities in the world, at least in my humble opinion. And many employers in the United States are going to naturally look for a United States degree. But it doesn't mean that your child couldn't go get that European degree, even come back for graduate school, or just be fine with that, knowing that this is an international marketplace and that getting a degree in Germany, for instance, will serve him or her well, particularly if there's no debt tied to that. So there are many countries in Europe who would allow a U.S. student to come over and it would be tuition free or highly subsidized. The next is joining the military, which I certainly know is not a good fit for many families, but I have seen some kind of jaw-dropping tuition packages that are offered by, let's say, the National Guard, for instance. And so if this is something that you're interested in, or you want to attend a military academy, these are really, really great opportunities to get tuition waived, or there may not be any tuition in the case of a military academy. And if you have a student that has high enough caliber academics and have somebody that can guide you through that process of applying to a military academy, could be a great opportunity. Or like I said, could be as simple as joining ROTC or the National Guard, or being a veteran and getting some of the GI Bill benefits. Another one that's not going to lead to a free degree, but will substantially cut the cost, is what I call the 2-year to 4-year transfer. And this is when you go to community college for 2 years and you transfer into a 4-year college in order to complete your bachelor's degree. And let's be honest, there are many 2-year degrees that lead to very good incomes in well-paying trade type craft jobs that honestly are really great opportunities to have a fulfilling and meaningful career that pays quite well. But for those that want to finish on, they can transfer into a state school or a private school that's heavily discounted, that essentially makes the entire degree pretty affordable, especially when you cut out some of those living expenses. So that's the 2-year to 4-year transfer. You know, I'm going to stop there. I think that's quite a few to get your mind running. I'm sure as I continue to do episodes on this topic, I'll introduce even more opportunities to cut the cost of higher education, or figure out some creative opportunities to increase your funding for college. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Hope you check out the full blog post at gradmetrics.com, and we'll see you on the next episode.